Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Cosmic Owl Astrology with Louise Edington. I am the Cosmic Owl, the Wisdom Weaver, and Cyberpunk Witch Priestess to the Stars. And once again, happy holidays. I'm recording this. What's the date? The 29th. We're nearly done with 2025. And I'm going to do the forecast for the Cancer full moon that's coming up on January the 3rd. And it's another whopper. I'm getting a bit tired of saying that, but well, we are in extraordinary times. But first of all, I want to thank every one of you that subscribes, gives me a thumbs up, gives me a comment, and also, checks that little bell so you get notified when new content's uploaded. And I also love to thank the thumbs downs. I never get that, but hey, it all feeds the algorithms, by the way. So I don't get many, but it's kind of weird. I think I never do that. Anyway, so where are we? Oh yeah, as usual, I'm going to show you the cards and do the full card reading at the end. I've got quite a lot to talk about, but before I do, I have 2 membership options, and you can join the Spiral Weave, which is the one Ask Me Almost Anything call a month, plus a mid-month tarot spread recording that I'm going to do for the Spiral Weave. And that will all take place on my private platform that is fairly new to me, but all roads lead to my private platform now. So if you join at $9.99 a month, become a member here on YouTube, you will have access to the link for my Spiral Weave. You can also join through Substack or directly through my website. So, all right, so here we are. So the cards, first of all. I'm not going to tell you what they mean at this point. So the Goddess of Cups. This is for the full moon. The Fool. I don't always do this many cards for the full moon, but there's reasons why I have. And this is the 5 of Cups. Interesting that we have water cups there because Cancer is a water sign. And here we have as well the Exile from the Witch Oracle deck. So, let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to share the chart first of all and just give a quick overview of a few things. Oh no, apparently I have to bring it to the fore again. All righty. So here is the chart for this full moon. Now, the first thing I want to say is that this is 13 Cancer is the degree of the sun of the USA. So this is a really big full moon for the USA. I might do a separate video, or on Friday with Kathy, we'll probably look at this full moon with the USA chart. But the other things I want to point out, of course, is that the full moon is always a moon opposition to the sun. And look at this Capricorn energy. Now, immediately I noticed that Mars is 1 degree from the sun on this side, Venus on the other side. And there's more I'll have to say about that. But we also have Hecate in Capricorn now, and we have Mercury in Capricorn now. And Mercury is not quite under the beams of the sun, but that doesn't mean it's not significant. 10 degrees apart is the official kind of astrological under the beams of the sun, which means their energy is kind of dazzled by the sun, kind of a bit burned out, a bit less accessible, bit more extreme, if you like, in many ways. And we have Juno in Capricorn. So this is big. Okay. I'm probably not even going to go into some of the other aspects at this point because this full moon in itself is so potent. But I will point out that it is aspecting the moon's nodes still, which is important because it is a full moon and they are the moon's nodes. So, you know, they have now moved back to 10 degrees, and asteroid Lilith, talk to the hand Lilith, has just been conjunct that north node. Oh, I forgot to mention we also have Vesta in Capricorn. That's such a lot of Capricorn. This is Pholus, and Pholus is the lid comes off, cause and effect, wherever you take an inventory, if you like, of where you've been in or out of integrity, and we're taking inventory of other things too. So I've talked about that quite a lot before. Uranus is now at 27 degrees, the station degree that it will turn direct at later. And this little being here is Okiroe. This is the divine child of Chiron and Chariklo, husband and wife centaurs. These three are all moving into an alignment, and I've actually got Melanie Reinhardt coming on this channel on February the 17th to talk about it. She's really busy, so we had to plan far out. So watch for that. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the chart. I think that's all I want to say. But yeah, the main aspects, in fact, pretty much the only aspects to this full moon are to the nodes and asteroid Lilith. So it's another big turnaround. Okay, so now then, the first thing I want to mention is out of bounds planets. So, let me get my PDF again. When planets are out of bounds, they are more than 23 degrees, 27 minutes off the ecliptic, and they act out of character. They are more extreme. They are, eccentric, if you like. And on this full moon, we have Mercury out of bounds. Mercury is out of bounds until January the 15th. We have Venus out of bounds until the day of the full moon. She is out of bounds on this full moon, just. And Mars is out of bounds until January the 4th. So we have the three personal planets that are not luminaries, all out of bounds, and two of them under the beams of the sun and one about to be under the beams of the sun. This is crazy, right? So I've been hearing a lot of astrologers talk about the last time we saw this was 1936. So I thought I would just quickly try and find what they were seeing. So I went back to 1936, and I'm not going to go into great detail because I don't want to totally fry your brains. But this is the period, I think, that they were looking at. So you can see that Mars is under the beams of the sun, Mercury is just under the beams of the sun, and Venus is under the beams of the sun. But Mars was out of bounds. Mercury was maybe about to go out of bounds. I could not replicate this at all, to be honest. And even if I take it to, because it's also a full moon, and the moon, I'll talk about that in a minute. So the new moon after that was pretty close, and no, moon was not out of bounds. Nothing was out of bounds. None of them. Mars was back in bounds at that point. So this is even more than 1936, and apparently it was not seen for centuries before that. And Cancer, where all that was I just looked at, was in the opposite sign, and it was a new moon close to as well. So just going back to this this full moon on January the 3rd, in my software, the moon is out of bounds at lunar maximum. We're still at lunar maximum. The peak was in March, okay? Mercury's out of bounds, Venus is still out of bounds, but about to go back in bounds, and Mars is out of bounds. Just don't worry too much about what this means. It just means it's blimey, a heck of a lot. Wow. So this full moon is huge. Now then, I want to read you some numbers as usual. Of course, this was a, I can't remember how many full moons 2025. Sorry about this. This is, we've got these series of new and full moons at 13 and 28 degrees, 28 for the new. So this is the second full moon. It will be December the 4th for some people. And this is the second. And then we have February the 1st, another at 13. So we just have 3 at exactly 13. We have a Leo full moon on February the 1st as we head into eclipse season. But I'll repeat again that 13 is a really powerful number. 13 is, it's a number of transformation, intuition, resilience, and creativity. 13 is the death card in the tarot because it means death and transformation, regeneration, rebirth. 13 in sacred geometry appears in the fruit of life, which is composed of 13 circles seen as a symbol of creation and the womb of the universe. Okay, and so it's got all these mystical meanings. Now, of course, under our patriarchy, the 13 has been has really been portrayed as unlucky because 13 is also one of the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, if you have heard of that. This is the sequence where you add each number is the sum of the 2 preceding ones. So it goes 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. And those numbers are connected to the Venus cycle. So this is just an amazing full moon because Venus is about to be cazimi, the sun conjunct exactly superior cazimi. She won't be out of bounds on that on the 6th. I'm actually going to be on Talk Cosmos on Sunday the 4th talking about that. And then Mercury, Mars will be cazimi, the sun conjunct, still out of bounds, I think. I'll check on that. And Mercury is going to be cazimi, the sun. Just this, again, this lineup, I had to kind of go into a little bit of it because this is another kind of representation of these immensely transformational and times of rebirth that we are coming through as we move into this new paradigm. Now, the Fibonacci sequence, by the way, is also called the golden ratio or the golden mean. It's phi, it's 1.618, repeating though, and that shows up in nature everywhere, in humans, in flowers, in leaves, and it's everywhere. So this is telling me that we are being birthed in a huge way. Now, other things on the 13, I've talked about it quite a lot, but let me go and read a couple of things again that are from ridingthebeast.com because, a lot of these superstitions around 13 come from religion. And so he said in this blog, anyway, I'll read you some things. It's the number that cleans and purifies. The number 13 brings the test, the suffering, and the death. It symbolizes death to the matter or to oneself, and the birth to the spirit, the passage on a higher level of existence. For the superstitious, it brings bad luck or misfortune. For the Kabbalists, the number 13 is the snake, the dragon, Satan, and the murderer, but it's also for Christians the number of the Virgin Mary, whose mission was to crush the head of Satan. It's the number in relation to the cross and also to the family, because it's the 4. So 1 plus 3 is 4. And it's the element, 4 directions, right? The cross as well, right? It's the element of 2 that makes pass from a cycle to another with what this change implies of anxieties by the arrival of an unknown cycle. That didn't make sense, but that kind of refers to this. I did that interview with Bibhu Dev Misra. We are at the age, we know we're moving into the age of Aquarius. All kinds of things are jumping out. We are at the end of the Kali Yuga as well, ready to transform on the ascent again. You can go and watch that if you do. Anyway, there's 13 in all kinds of ways, but if we consider 13 as a wheel to 12 rays, that's like the zodiac, really. Like you are in the middle and the 12 signs around the outside. And 13 equals 12 plus 1. It's said to be the number of the eternal return. The 13th hour is also the first. So, this keeps going on and on. So please don't look at it and go, oh, 13, that's unlucky. So I don't know kind of how to sum all of this up. If things feel wild and chaotic, having 3 personal planets and the moon out of bounds on this full moon is massive. If you have any planets aspected by it at all, and by any of the surrounding players, I'm going to get the USA chart up because I think I need to. This is huge. But it does make the energies of this full moon even more heightened. Full moons are like a completion, a fulfillment. They are kind of a death and rebirth also, because now the moon is going in its waning phase. It's kind of taken action on the seeds that were sown on the previous new moon and then moving forward. So I just want to show you, though, the USA chart, because okay. So on this, you can see here is the full moon, 1301, on the sun of the USA. So that means that all of this Capricorn stuff, apart from Vesta, but Vesta is the hearth, the state is on Pluto in the US chart, is in the first house, how people see us. And this is the structures that are being torn apart. Okay. I just want to quickly kind of whiz around and see where else we are. We can see as well that the North Node on the full moon is in the outside, is about to hit Ceres and Nessus in the USA. Asteroid Lilith has just been over those two. More and more people are beginning to see that this needs restructuring in so many ways. All right. I'm not going to go on and on about this, but this is just massive. It's huge. And I'm pretty sure that the USA was not born. Mars was out of bounds when the USA was born. I use this chart. Okay, the Sibley. Not all astrologers agree, but it works, this chart. So in a way, this full moon is pretty much the USA's chart. The USA Sibley chart has 12 degrees rising. The full moon has 9. So I'm going to swap it round. But this has a different midheaven. This is going to be interesting because the USA's chart has a midheaven in Aries at the bottom, Libra at the top. We'll probably try and talk about this a lot more on Friday when I meet Kathy. and we go into that, because I don't want to make this only USA centric, although clearly it's affecting the whole world. So how do I put this? So if we kind of go back to that full moon chart, I'm not going to show it again. We've got Venus at 12, Sun at 13, Mars at 14. The Sun is kind of like drawing in the divine masculine and feminine together, in my opinion, with this. We are being invited to start to do things differently. And I even had a whole kind of conversation with on a Facebook post I made before this morning, kind of about how people are starting to listen to each other and come together and meet in the middle and be less divided and to be less judgmental and angry and attacking. And people are starting to wake up to things everywhere. This is not just in politics I'm talking about. People are starting to withdraw from some of the cesspools that can be the world of the social media space, and starting to make real connections and talk to each other. And with this being Cancer and Capricorn, this really is about birthing new structures in many ways. And this is about coming together to create structures that work for all. Because when I hope you get by now, but when I say divine masculine and feminine, I do not mean just men and women. It's everything. It's nature. It's it's doing. It's action. It's control. It's domination. It's all these things. It's kind of huge, and this is leading to these two Kazimis. I'm just getting those dates for you. So Mercury, Sun conjunct Venus is happening on January the 6th. Sun conjunct Mars is happening on January the 9th. And Venus, Mars, and the Sun then will all be at 19 degrees and opposing Jupiter, retrograde Jupiter in Cancer. So this is, this full moon really is launching a phase of collapse of many things, I think. But that doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's collapse of, we thought this worked, it doesn't, we're going to build back better, so to speak. All of those things. Now, if you remember when I started on this, I went through the out of bounds dates. Yes, there's a lot to remember. So by January the 9th, Venus and Mars are no longer out of bounds when they're all at 19 degrees. But we do have Mercury out of bounds still. The moon will be back in bounds as well by all of this. But then we have the Venus Cazimi, 6th, Mars, 9th. Then we finish some of this on January the 21st with the Mercury Cazimi that is actually at 1 Aquarius. So that's a whole other thing. I will talk more about that later. This is extraordinary, but I cannot emphasize enough that this is very heightened energy. It will feel very emotional. The moon is way out of bounds in Cancer on this full moon. People will be behaving weirdly and differently, but you may find yourself behaving differently than you had in the past and feeling quite like things are not normal, because they are not. That's what really out of bounds means. Things are not normal right now. And they're out of bounds now, by the way, all three, as I record this on the 29th, I believe. In fact, I know they are. And so it's through this whole period, these, not the moon. The moon's going to be out of bounds by the full moon on the 3rd. But having the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars out of bounds and pretty much Cazimi the Sun on this full moon means that this full moon, after this, things are going to start falling away. Structures are going to collapse. Thinking of the money kind of market. I'm not a financial astrologer, so But I do know that gold and silver have really rocketed in value, and that's usually a sign, especially when it happens with the stock market going up, a very unstable underlying basis of in the economy. So you just kind of stay stable. Do not panic when all of this happens. So long as you are a little bit diversified and things, because I think the ones that will suffer from this are the ones that are trying to hoard all the money. So I think they're the ones that will suffer most, first of all. But also, Cancer is about care, self-care, caring for your family, family of origin or family of, that you've chosen, but also, family in the greater whole of each other. So do that self-care, please. This full moon is massive. You're going to feel it now. It's taken me this long to get to this video because everything's so... But anyway, I'm going to leave it. No, I'm not going to leave it at that. What am I doing? I've got more to go through. I'm going to read the symbols. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just kind of overwhelmed with all of this right now. It's kind of nuts. Okay. So I've got to find my symbols. There they are. Okay, so let's do the Sabian symbol first. Is a very old man facing dark space. And the original, I think said to the northeast. So the arc, and when we think in this terms, I know I often kind of say, I often regender it to a very old person. I'm going to leave this one as a very old man, because we are in the death throes of the patriarchy. So I think it's kind of referring to that. But anyway, James Burgess said, this is remembering eternal truth, as all that passes away proves to have been ephemeral. What remains is the lasting truth. And it's about discovery of universal eternal truths. He says the archetype of an enlightened one is often portrayed as a wise old man. Buddha, Lao Tse, Plato, blah, blah, blah. And the association is with the unbending, singular dedication to the study of truth. And, women can do that too, of course, because Saturn really is wisdom. Capricorn is elder wisdom, right? Beneath all that changes, and above all visionary aspirations, is something that endures and is ever stable, basic and true. To live in remembrance of this is profound spiritual wisdom. So we are learning, we are being upgraded in so many ways. I think I'm just going to read you Elias Lonsdale's version of the Chandra symbols. So Cancer 14, again, a dried up stream bed covered with smooth rocks. Unless tragedy strikes, a new earth cannot be accessed. Only as all the old familiar places dry up is there a path to walk revealed beneath, pristine and beckoning. It's no use looking back. The way lies right here, strewn with experience, memory, loss, and redemption by walking onward. It's a difficult, painstaking journey from here. You have to go deep inside, burrowing into the cave of navigational realization that you are held, cherished, known, given all you need, yet as well required, commanded to become entirely purposeful and to be the path and to cease all complaining and extraneous consciousness. This in order to do what is here to do with your entire being in ringing conviction and fidelity to the highest. We've just got to do what you're here to do now. We are part of bringing in this new earth, right? Okay, so guidance for this. Goddess of Cups, first of all. This is Ariadne in this deck, the spiral threads. This is I am empowered. I'm not going to tell you anything else, really. You are empowered on this full moon to step into your full mind, body, spirit being. Because part of that 13 is also about the Trinity, by the way. So, and then we have the 4. Oh, I can never find the numbers on these cards. I know she has the numbers on them, but I can never tell which. She kind of has them written in a weird way. But see, I thought this was 6. It's 16. And this is I am falling. So things are going to fall away, you know, but we have to let the old go, the past go. Like the Chandra symbol said, like Elliot Lonsdale said, there's no point looking back. Can't go back. So let it go. Let things fall away. We're going to be okay. And then we also have the 5 of Cups, small water sign. This is I am grief. This is tears. It's okay to feel the grief and the tears as things fall away and to kind of miss what was. But then we got to let it go. Tears can help wash away what was. I actually kind of lost 2 people in my life this week. Not by death, but we just no longer resonate, and things just fell apart in relationship, and we're not going back. So it's okay. These things happen too. So this card is number 38, the Exile. So you may feel a little bit like the Exile this week, I'm guessing. I should have found these pages before, but here we are. Here we go. This is the card, the last card. So again, don't forget to subscribe, check out my membership. The first Thursday, I'm not doing it New Year's Day. So the first Thursday, Ask Me Anything call is next week on January 8th, is that? Anyway, but we've got 2 in January for the Spiral Weave, actually, because we had some technical difficulties in December. Anyway, there will be times when you are the exile, searching for your belonging, the same way the ugly duckling went from place to place in hopes of home. This can be a situational, temporary sting or a long drawn-out ache of longing as you seek out your true place. I mean, I feel a bit like an exile in this new world in many ways. Either way, it's incredibly painful. To the witch, it is a form of initiation and needs to be treated with respect. Your quest for connection is a holy one. Like a priestess from Avalon, you must greet the fog that shrouds your true home with your soul's song. Only the truest words from your most authentic self can break the spell and clear the fog, revealing the Isle of Apples, your place of belonging. The witch knows her soul's song comes from dropping down into the wound of her unbelonging. Now is the time to apprentice yourself to the lostness, to companion the longing to belong by asking what the longing wants from you. This isn't the time for self-improvement or development, cutting away or transforming what makes you feel like you don't fit. Rather, it's time to ask the voice of the void what it is yearning to create in you. Yield to the ache, dear witch. The longing is forging a sanctuary for you, if only you'll follow its voice. And interestingly, when planets like Venus and Mercury and Mars are under the beams of the sun, they're said to be in exile. So we're kind of all in exile at the moment, finding our place in what's coming. And I don't think we'll truly understand that till next year, but this full moon is a really good time to just operate differently, to really go within and just do what the book recommends. I love you. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.